Every moment in the market is genuinely and truly unique, but our minds don't process it that way. We have to train our minds to process it that way if we want to make ourselves the casino. If we want to put ourselves in the situation where we are the casino, then we got to get our minds to process information in a different way. Richard had a comment that I thought was really good.
We tend to associate with a winning trade or a losing trade, that when we do suffer a loss, we tend to think of ourselves as a loser instead of that is just a trade that turned out a loss.
Right.
And when we do get a winning trade, we think, well, I'm a winner. So you get caught up in the emotion of it instead of looking at it, that was a bad trade, this was a good trade. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a winner or a loser.
Richard, have you ever played the slots?
No.
Never?
Well, yes.
Why couldn't you say?
Yes,
go ahead.
Not anymore because
No,
I understand.
I didn't say, no. Did I say, have you ever played the slots?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When the tumblers didn't come up with any kind of a jackpot, did you think of yourself as a loser?
No. Why? Because I know that the slot machine is rigged against me.
Well, okay, but did you think there's any possibility of ever winning?
Absolutely, because I did get some. But eventually ended up with an empty pocket.
But in other words, you walked into it with the belief that on any particular time that you pushed the button that there was a random outcome.
Correct.
You knew that, right? And so therefore you didn't think of yourself as a loser.
Correct.
Have you ever thought of yourself as a loser when you had a losing trade?
Yes.
And what would be the reason?
Because I lost.
No, because you didn't believe that there was a random outcome, right? If someone told you from the very beginning that whatever outcomes that you experience from any methodology that you picked to define an edge were random, would you be thinking about this completely differently?
It makes a big difference. Absolutely.
Yeah. So in other words, you wouldn't have the same emotional problems that you might have with the kind of errors and everything else that goes along with trading with fear if someone would have just said to you, you know what, there's a random outcome. Even though it's a pattern and it doesn't make sense and it creates a paradox for our minds, we got a pattern that produces a random outcome. If you believe that there was a random outcome, where would the emotions come from?
They would certainly diminish, if not